happy are you at work at the moment? I mean, if you're happy, great. But if you're only okay, or a bit worse, or you know someone that's only okay or a bit worse, then I've got some tips for how you can approach thinking about that and how to become happier at work. It's really grounded on sort of reflective processes that I learnt when I was training as a therapist many moons ago now. When I was training, I used to go and see a therapist. They were a bit like a mentor to me too. And I used to go and see this wise older woman called Nan, appropriately. And she used to say to me that really a therapist only does three things. They listen to their client, they then reflect back what they hear, and then they ask some questions to move some things forward. And that's a really good model of sort of how you can create positive change. So, one way you can put that into action is to find a buddy or a colleague, and you can give each other a good listening to. In fact, one of you can just be the listener if it's one of you that's stuck and one isn't. And being a good listener is about listening, but then it's also about this reflecting back. And really what you're doing is you're kind of paraphrasing what you hear so that they can hear it for themselves. It's really important that they actually know that they've been heard. It helps them do that. And of course it helps them hear themselves. And you might not get it quite right, but they're going to correct you pretty quickly. Or it might be that they start thinking, oh yeah, I don't quite mean that, maybe I mean this. And it's an iterative process. And then you can ask some questions to move it on. Now it's really important you don't go into fixer mode, like giving them advice. The idea here is to help them come to their own thoughts and ideas about what they can do. So you might ask, how does that make you feel? Have you got an idea of what you could do? So you're putting things so that it's very facilitative rather than prescriptive. So that's the first way. The second way is sort of built on me as a statistician. I'm more of a statistician than a therapist at the end of the day, but I'm very influenced in how I design things from my therapeutic training. And so I've created this test. It's called Friday1, friday1.com. You can go to it. And it does this process where, it asks you questions. So it's listening to you. It then reflects that back in a report. And in that report, asks some questions you can think about to move on. It just takes 5 minutes to do. And it, acts like a mirror. That's what it's trying to do. You can actually combine the two. So you could, get each other to do the questionnaire first. And then you could use that as a basis for, how you're going to start that process of reflecting and thinking about what you can do. So those are my two tips, as I say, grounded in the sort of therapeutic model of change, which has helped so many people over the decades. Listening, reflecting back, and asking questions. Really hope it helps and that you have more good weeks than bad weeks going forward. Thanks for listening.